Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey everybody, welcome to the show. Today I'm joined by Nathan Oddo. He's a highly experienced real estate agent and also an investor in the Dallas-Fort Worth market. Nathan's been in the game for a long time, since 2010. So he's actually purchased over 1,000 homes and actually closed on 90 plus single family transactions in 2024 alone. So Nathan, man, I'm super excited to talk with you today. I know you and I spent some time together talking offline before we started recording. So why don't you just introduce the audience, who you are, your background, and just how you got here, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on. My name is Nathan Oddo, and I've been buying and selling real estate since late 2009. Kind of got my start um, in a really random way. So I was valeting cars at the time in Uptown Dallas. I did that for 4 or 5 years. I was going to go into nursing. I was kind of knocking out some college courses at Brookhaven College and really just trying to find a path, right? And I used the real estate, I used the valet platform to just kind of network with young, successful people that were coming through my line on the regular basis, and started a conversation with a guy, owned a big box wholesale company that I won't mention right now, but basically they were like, get your real estate license and we'll hire you immediately. So I did that. That was late 2009. I worked for that company for 2.5, 3 years. And then late 2012, started my own gig, started throwing big wads of money at different marketing things and wasting a lot of cash just to find a couple of things that worked. And what I found, being a licensed agent, I was able to form relationships with a lot of realtors and real estate professionals who, most realtors want to list pretty houses. So they love an exit if you can provide opportunity for them to bring you ugly houses. So if you go 1 for 1, 2 for 2 with a realtor who brings you an ugly deal, then likely if you make the transaction stress free, you don't go back into them to try to create a bigger fee, and carve them up for more money and beat their seller up who's probably in a desperate situation anyway. They're going to feed you. So I've made a living basically communicating with real estate agents and professionals, just to kind of feed me the as is fixer upper type deals that they don't really want to list on the MLS and things like that. So that's a lot of my lead flow, and then I do a little direct mail niche list. We pull government list fast, and as ready as it's available, we pull it and then we mail it weekly or bi-weekly, and that kind of trickles in 1, 2, 3 leads a day, and we jump all over the ones that are ready to sell, and the other ones we do the best we can to kind of keep in the pipeline and follow up with over time.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome. So you've done, over 1,000 deals, man. In your career, which first off, that's incredible. I'm curious. I mean, what were some of the key steps that you put in to achieve that, and maybe just share some of your strategies on, since 2010 into 2025 now, how were you able to do that?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So I've always been kind of a high volume guy. So that's, I credit the company that I started at, in generating you know, the drive for that type of volume, right? So like back in the day in 2010, every other house was a foreclosure. And so we were
Mm,
able to jump on the MLS and get houses under contract, basically two or three a week. You're just sending multiple offers on multiple deals. And, you know, at that time, it was just mainly buying everything off the MLS. Well, when that dried up and I went out on my own, I had to find a couple honey holes, right, to make the phone ring. And so getting
yeah.
direct to seller was where I was trying to go. I saw a lot of people doing direct to seller deals, and I tried a bunch of different things. We tried
Mhm.
postcards in bulk. We tried absentee direct mail. We tried out of state absentee. We tried, water shutoffs, and we tried, vacant properties. All of these things are great marketing things that still work today, right? But you have to do a fair amount of volume to make your phone ring. You can't send a couple hundred letters and think you're going to buy a deal. So fast forward, 2013, 14, 15, I'm still doing some MLS stuff, but trying different lists and trying direct mail and just failing miserably, spending, 5,000 in 1 month and not getting a deal out
Dang.
of it. But um, what I like about direct mail, which is kind of my primary lead source other than contacting real estate professionals and realtors that I have relationships with, um, it's direct mail is like planting a seed. And
Yeah.
so you might send 5,000 letters in a month and getting you're going to get a few calls, but you may not get the calls you want. But that batch of 5,000, 3 months from now, somebody held on to that letter, and they're going to call you and say, hey, you mailed me a letter back in February, and it's July now or whatever. And they're like, we weren't ready to sell them, but we are ready to sell now. And then you kind of go into your spiel or whatever. So yeah, I'm not sure if I danced around your question or answered it directly, but yeah, I just it's been a learning curve. I've tried a little bit of everything, but what works for me in my business is I wear too many hats. I kind of do everything in my business, but direct mail, very focused, very niche list, and communicating to realtors and letting them know what I do.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I know, you really do specialize in having the connections with your realtors. And that's something I do want to touch on, right? I mean, you really provide so much value to that. And that's why you have such great relationships. And I think that's so important for people to hear, right? I just think people go into sometimes the wrong intentions with trying to build relationships. So I'm curious. I mean, could you kind of just give more advice on how you do your collaboration with your realtors to earn that trust and to get them to continue working with you?
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Sure. Well, like I said, I communicate with realtors basically daily. So I'm a
Mhm.
seed planter. I'm a huge proponent on what I'm planting today will harvest on down the road. So
Yeah.
if a realtor calls me back off of whether I send them an RVM or a cold email or whatever the case may be to engage a new realtor prospect, I like to get on the phone with them and I say, look, here's the value that I can add. I, if the house is built above this year and it falls in this zip code, well, then I can offer your seller 85 to 95% of market value. And I
Mm,
have that because I have all of these exit strategies for different properties that come in, right? If it's a dog, if it's a 1950s build in Irving and it's fallen over and the only thing holding it up are termites, then it's likely going to be a more conservative offer. But if you've got
mm,
something that's a 1995 build in a certain zip code and it's just got granny wallpaper on it, and it just needs a little bit of paint and carpet, well, those deals I can sell at a really, really high margin. Just because of the contacts that I've built over the years. And so I like to get realtors on the phone and anybody that's wanting to communicate with realtors to buy investment deals, you just kind of need to tell them what you do and be willing to back up your word, because you get
mm.
like one chance to prove yourself with a high
Yep.
volume realtor or broker. And if you get a deal under contract that you've underwritten poorly and you're not able to sell it or close on it, they're not going to call you again. They're going to put you
No.
in the file of goobers that don't close on houses. And so yeah. So, number one, just if you plan on communicating with realtors and doing business with realtors, just if you make a promise, you better be willing to like follow through and close on that deal.
100%. I mean, your word is your bond and everything, right? And also, with sellers as well, because I know you do a lot of wholesaling right now in your current business model. So I'm curious too with that as well, man. I mean, how do you leverage your conversations with sellers, right? I mean, is there any type of advice you could give on how you negotiate, your prices when you're trying to work with a seller on that, or kind of walk us through maybe just your sales process overall?
Sure. Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
happy to. So, I mean, I'm really, really good on the phone. First of all, 15 years of doing this and talking to tens of thousands of sellers, you're just going to either get good or just suck forever, right? So,
Yeah.
I've dialed things in with my sellers on the phone. You really got to know your product, and the only way to know what you're selling is to have the scar tissue, to have gone through a lot of sales and acquisitions and things like that. So when I go on an
Mm,
appointment, a seller calls in, they're like, "Hey Nathan, we got your letter. We're selling mom's house. We inherited it, whatever the case may be," right? I'm like,
mm,
okay, would you say that the house needs to be updated? That's the first question I ask them. I mean, if they're like, oh no, it was updated last year, everything's perfect, we're looking for retail value, and then I'm like, all right, so the first thing I would recommend to you is an awesome realtor. If you don't have one, I can forward you over a contact. And so then I'm referring these realtors that bring me as is deals for
mm.
retail deals. So it's this like, lovely little circle of trust I have with these realtors because I feed them leads that are looking for more for retail. And then on the sales side of things, if they're like, oh yeah, it looks like 1965 inside, it's very bad, needs a roof, all this stuff, then I'll book an appointment. I'll go meet the seller. And the first thing I'm trying to do is just establish a rapport with them. I try to make them feel comfortable
Mhm.
with who they're talking with. Sometimes I'm talking about my kids. Sometimes I'm not even talking about real estate. I don't get there and I don't tell them how crappy their house is. I don't kick the tires and say, wow. Some people's strategy is like, oh, this thing needs work. Oh my
Yeah.
God, look at all this stuff. What I
Yep.
like to do is I get there and I talk to them about the property, but I talk to them in a loving way because oftentimes this is their mom or dad's house and maybe they grew up in this home. And what I do
Exactly.
is when I get in there, I start talking about all of the home's potential
Mhm.
and like, oh my gosh, I love this neighborhood. Wow, this house is so cool. It's frozen in time. This is like a really beautiful mid-century modern design. Like I really love this house. And then I start talking about what I would do and like just putting everybody at ease in a comfortable setting and building that rapport. Once you've
Mhm.
got a seller's trust and they're like, all right, this guy knows what he's doing. He's a
Yep.
licensed realtor. He's bought and sold a ton of properties. and you're telling them how much you love their home, 9 times out of 10, if there's 4 other people after that property, they're going to
Hmm.
give you the keys to the castle because you've established that relationship early on with them,
Yep.
and they're going to tell you everything you need to know. So that, like I've gotten properties where my offer was $5,000 below the best offer. And that was
Yeah.
just because of the relationship and the connection I made with that seller. If you earn a seller's trust, shortly after that, you can earn their business.
Absolutely. And you might not even be the highest offer either, right? But
Right.
they're going to choose you because, again, you built the most rapport, you built that trust, and you took their time. You took your time, right? A lot of sometimes people want to rush the sales cycle process in this because they're just wanting to get that deal under contract.
Yeah.
And you notice a lot of times sellers that get pushed back because, whoa, man, we just started, we're not even dating yet, right?
Yeah.
So it can cause a lot of friction and you can really scare off some people. So it's just comes down to just not being a robot, man. Just
Yeah.
like you and I were having a conversation right now, you get to really just I always have this belief in people over profits, right?
Oh
If you
yeah.
keep that mentality in place and you're not focused on the dollar sign and what you're going to get out of this as a transaction aspect of things, you're gonna you're gonna win long term, right? It
Yeah.
might take you a little bit longer, but at least when you hit your head at night, you're doing the right things ethically.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to do in the beginning too when you see people online posting $30,000 checks, and you're
Yep.
hungry to get, you're working your hourly job, you're going to school, you're doing this as a third like side hustle trying to get started. It's really hard to do that. But yeah, if you can go in there and focus on just making the seller feel like they're dealing with a consummate professional, then nine
Yeah.
times out of ten you're going to come out of there with an opportunity to buy the deal. There are deals where people come in sometimes 50K higher than I am, and I'm just like, all I can do is present the facts and the data to the seller. When
Mhm.
I send the offer,
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
I'll send it on a Trek contract because I'm a licensed agent. So, I like to use the Trek paperwork. A lot of people, whether they're dealing with their attorney or having somebody review it, if you can present it on professional paper, they're going to
Mm.
review that. And you're already kind of like in a leader in the clubhouse. These guys that use their 1 and 2 page contracts and come in with $100 earnest money, $10
Yeah.
option fee, and the option period is 4 weeks and the closing is 5 weeks. It's like, well, if they put those two contracts together, that one's not going to hold up next to the Trek
No.
contract. And I try to paint the picture. So I'll tell the seller everything. And I think that's what wins me a lot of contracts
Yes.
is I pull the comps from the MLS and I send them the data, and I say, look, most of us investors, we calculate offers using the same offer calculator. We are in the 75 to 80% of ARV range, less the repairs, and that's where your offer is going to land. So what you're going to see is if you get 4 or 5 real buyers out there, you're going to see we're all pretty darn close to one another. If you get one that's ridiculously high and is written on a 2 page agreement, I think you need to pay close attention to that, because if it has a really long option period, 9 times out of 10, they're going to drag you close to the close date and they're going to ask for a 20K reduction,
Yep.
prior to closing the deal. And so, once a seller's like telling me they got this really crazy high offer, then I'll communicate like, hey, it might not be what it seems. Here's what to look out for. Because, you know, I've had a lot of deals go under contract with other people like that. And then, 30 days later doesn't close because the
Mm.
person was a newbie, wrote their offer on a napkin or whatever the case may be. And
Yeah.
the seller got big eyes and thought that they were going to get that. But they'll call me back and I'll get the deal a month later or whatever. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I love the fact that you really highlight the aspect of education, right? You're educating and just pulling back the curtain to your sellers, right? You have
Yeah.
nothing to hide. And I think that is definitely your winning strategy, man, because you're just being so authentic on the process and just really just laying out everything, all the expectations, what to look for. And because think about it, right? How many other people, like we're talking about, are doing that exact same thing?
Yeah.
I'd argue to say not many. Hopefully things are changing because now people are starting to see that the market in this game, especially in wholesaling, is becoming so much more competitive because everybody and their mom and dad is trying to get into this business, right?
Yeah.
But you're really going to see that it doesn't matter because if your sales game is on point and you're just treating people like you want to be treated, you're going to outlast long term, you know?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And if you're giving them all of the data and you're like, look, here's what you can sell this home for. If you
yep.
put $60,000 into it, this is market value. If
Yeah.
you're looking for more of a quicker transaction and you don't have the time to manage this from the other side of the town or another state, this is kind of where it's going to land if you get three or four of us to offer on this house. And you just show them everything. You're completely transparent. All your cards are on the table. Then, I mean, it's going to go a long way. You're going to, I've bought houses from, probate attorneys, from foreclosure attorneys. And I've also bought houses from crackheads on the couch that they're selling their grandmother's house. So like, just
Yeah.
establishing that rapport with whoever your audience is always going to be the same. You're just going
Mhm.
to get in there. You're going to drop facts on them. You're going to give them all of their options so that they can make an informed, educated decision on who they want to sell the property to, right? That's it.
100%.
That's it.
100%. So when you actually are about to go through the contract process, right? What does that look like for you? Do you just send them the contract and just tell them like, "Hey, whenever you're ready to sign, here it is." You send them via DocuSign, or do you just sit with them live and walk through the contract together just to see if they have any questions on it, any hesitation,
I,
and get them to sign on the
yeah.
spot? Yeah.
Yeah, I do all of the above. So
Uh-huh.
most of the time, I just send the offer with all of my professional references written into it and a list of my recent transactions and verifiable proof of funds and
Interesting.
a
Wow.
description of what their
Mhm.
net is going to be. And so I'll write specifically. Buyer agrees to pay all closing costs for buyer and seller less mortgages, taxes, liens, commissions, whatever, so that they know, okay, it's a $200,000 net offer, but if I owe 16,000 in taxes, I'm not walking out with 200 grand. It's going to adjust from the proceeds. So oftentimes, if they want to go through the contract line by line, we'll get on the phone and we'll do that.
Yeah.
If most of the time these people that I deal with either have a realtor on the other end or have some type of attorney representation or whatever. So maybe the attorney will have some questions or want to put some verbiage in there and make a few changes or whatnot. But yeah, 9 times out of 10, I just send it to them and let them marinate on it. And then I just say, if I'm close to your best offer and you would prefer to work with me, don't let me miss out over a few bucks. I don't
Yeah.
have a ton of room,
Yeah.
but like, if I could tip the scale in my favor, you know, put $1 more on it, like The Price is Right, then I'll do that.
Yeah.
Let's try
Absolutely.
to work together. But yeah, for the most part, I just send it and bullet point everything in the email. And it's rare that someone wants me to go through the contract line by line.
Yeah, 100%, right? But I do like the fact that you're putting and providing references and also proof of funds. I don't see a lot of wholesalers doing that. What made you start doing that? Did you just see that, really people are just sending over a contract and really nothing else to kind of like build more of that confidence and trust? Or is that something you just kind of wanted experimented with and you just found that it was working for you really well?
Yeah, again, going back to working with realtors, you send
Yeah,
an offer on a listed property or a realtor with a realtor you've never met. 9 times out of 10, they're going to say, "Can you send me proof of funds also?"
right.
So I cut my teeth working with realtors. And so I developed this habit of, providing proof of funds. So I've been through lots of hard money lenders. I used to use a ton of local hard money lenders, but after you've used a ton of lenders and you pay the points and the interest and all that stuff, I went out seeking relationships with high net worth individuals that have
Mhm.
a lot of liquidity and want to just do some lending.
Yeah.
And so I
Mhm.
built these private relationships with guys that offer financing. And then when you're in the room with a person like that
Mhm.
who has a lot of liquidity, it's your opportunity to set the terms and the tone on how you want to take the money from them. It's like,
Mm.
look, you're going to be secured in first lien by this asset. You know, your money's protected. You're buying a house half of what it's worth, right? You're going to be in first lien. You're good.
Right.
Um, so here's what I would like. It's like I'll pay a point and 10% interest. I want 100% financing. I don't want to bring a dollar to closing. And then I will pay you when I sell or refinance the property 90 days later. And I've got a few lenders that give me 100% financing, and I don't bring a single dollar to closing. And so that's
Wow.
really helped me scale my business because, like, if a deal comes in that I'm like, oh, this is kind of skinny, but it's very clean. The data looks really good. There's super low days on market in the subdivision and not a lot active. I'd like to scrub this thing clean, maybe sling a coat of paint on it and put it on the MLS as is. Well, that's given me the opportunity to create, change a $10,000 assignment fee into net 50. And
Mhm.
then I get to pay my lender 7 grand too, so everybody's winning in this thing. I've created another um, revenue stream and basically tripled my fee on one house. So, yeah, I would say, when I contract a house, I'm committed to closing it because
Mhm.
I've got the financing and the bankroll like behind me to close on these houses. So, yeah, when going back to what you said, like sending the proof of funds and all that stuff, I actually send the proof of funds from the people that do my lending. And it's like, so if they're calling my proof of funds, which happens once or twice a year, maybe,
Yeah.
hey, do you know this Nathan Oddo guy with SNO Properties? And then my lender's like, we closed so many deals together. You're going to
That's
absolutely love
awesome.
working with him. So it gets
Yeah.
you even more credibility if you've got that lender relationship or if you've got that proof of funds.
100%. And I think it all circles back to the same thing. Everything we're talking about, it's all relationship business, this whole thing, right? And
Oh, yeah.
there's a lot of people also out there that are wanting to get, capital from people, but they're just approaching, either lenders or private money just the wrong way, right? You got to know your numbers, and you also have to know, like, with full confidence on what they can expect, right? On both sides. So, like, what advice would you give to somebody that is, just newly in that endeavor? They're trying to, build relationships with hard money lenders, get private money. We know trust is the most important thing, but is there any type of other, strategies you could kind of share that would help some people?
Yeah, I'd say just like in the beginning, get a few under your belt. Like
Mhm.
buy a deal from a wholesaler, use a couple of local hard money lenders because the funny thing is, like, once you do 3 or 4 transactions and you're borrowing money and there's a lender involved, a hard money lender, all that's recorded with the county, right? First lien,
Mm,
the deed's got a vendor's lien on it. So all of this is going to be recorded. Well, just like we pull our data, lenders pull data too, right? So they're going to
yeah.
start calling you out of the blue when you're doing loans. So I met a lot of these lenders and guys that I have relationships with just by closing deals. And
Wow.
and just getting cold called. And the same goes with putting deals on the MLS and selling them as is. Like I can't count in the last 12 months because last year on the MLS I probably put, I don't know, 30 deals on the MLS, bought and sold 30 houses on the MLS, but a lot of it's off market. But just selling as is houses on the MLS, when someone is pulling comps on a wholesale deal that they bought and you're as is comp gets caught up in their polygon on the MLS, they're going to say, "Oh, this dude represented a seller, SNO Properties that sold a house as is," and then they call you. They say, "Hey, Nathan, I noticed you closed 1, 2, 3, 4th Street in Garland as is. I've got another one in that pocket that we're about to sell off market. Would you be interested?" So I get a lot of deals that way. Just I would say, calling, just getting a couple of loans under your belt in your LLC or even your personal name, just doing a couple like retail flips, or even if you're doing rentals or short-term rentals or whatever the case may be, just closing on a few loans will kind of open up some doors for you. And then you just need to open your mouth and tell them what kind of terms you're looking for. A lot of people try to solicit my business when it comes to loans, but not a lot of people want to give me loans when I tell them the terms I already have. They're like, yeah,
Yeah,
they're
I
like,
was
no,
gonna
we
say.
can't compete with that. Good luck.
Yeah, yeah,
So you
man, that's
just got to
awesome.
find the individuals that have a lot of liquid cash and bump into them, and then kind of set the tone from them in the meeting. And then you can have guys that love to work. I do a lot of transactional lending too. So like I'll double close something. If I've sold something and it's a
Okay,
really big fee, I'll pay a guy 1 point to close on it, and then I'll resell it the same day to my investor, right? So like if
super
I made
smart.
50 grand and I don't want to do an assignment, then I'll close on it at 200,000, and I'll pay my investor 2 grand, 1 point to fund that 200K, and then I'll resell it. And then my guy gets the house, I get the difference. And then my other, nobody knows how much I made. And my lender got involved in that, and he gets his money in within 24 hours. Sends a wire,
Man,
comes back 2 grand greater. So
yeah,
yeah,
multiple ways to skin a cat, huh? That's the
I
way
know.
to
Yeah, I
go.
got a bunch of little. I know how everything works. I just don't know
Yeah,
how to train people to do it for me.
yeah, yeah. Well, hey, at least you're honest, man. That's the big step first, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I got a couple honey holes at work, but I certainly wear too many hats in my business. That's for sure.
yeah, yeah. Awesome. Well, Nate, man, I really appreciate your time, my friend. I honestly wish we had another hour to speak on because there's so much more I want to ask you, but
Yeah.
unfortunately we don't. But just want to leave it off, man. Where can people find you? If people want to reach out to you, how people can work with you. Why don't you share how that works?
Yeah, a huge part of my business is JV and other people's deals, right? Because if you've been in the business for 15 years, you've accumulated quite the list of
Hmm.
investors, right? So I've got
I would,
15,000 cash buyers from DFW all the way to Houston. And so
wow.
a lot of my business last year was JVing other people's deals because, people that get deals under contract and are good at that, but don't have the dispo side locked down.
Hmm.
They bring me the deals, and I'm able to add my number on top of their number because I've got most of the buyers that pay the most, right? So,
Hmm.
yeah, if anyone's looking to talk about real estate or has questions about marketing, I'm wide open. I'll probably overshare, but yeah, you can reach me. Probably the best way to do it is just through email, Nathan, Nathan, at thatinvestorguy.com. So that's my website, www.thatinvestorguy.com. And yeah, Nathan at thatinvestorguy.com is the easiest way to get in touch with me. And then hopefully we'll get a chance to add some value to other people.
Awesome. Nathan, man, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, my friend.
Yeah, man.
Honestly, I gained so much value, and I know the audience is going to gain nothing but value from this as well. So, guys, definitely be sure to reach out to Nathan. He's a great resource out there in Texas, man. But just wishing you nothing but the best in your future endeavors, Nate, and all the best to you.
This was very cool. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Of course, of course. Well, guys, hope you enjoyed today's show. I know I did. And as always, my friends, we will see you on the next episode.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.